Welcome to the No Name Yet podcast. This is the podcast with no name yet. And with me tonight is brother Maurice Young, otherwise known as Mo.
What's up, guys? I'm back, and I'm not gonna complain about the name right now. I'm tired. I'm
Not going
tired.
to complain about no name
No,
yet.
no, not anymore. I'm done. I'm
There's
done.
no name yet.
My voice is not ever gonna be heard. I'm still not even a co-host, so I don't care. I don't care.
I didn't call you a guest tonight.
You didn't.
I didn't.
Aw, that's very nice of you. What's
So, the first thing I wanted to ask you about
up?
was the last podcast.
Okay. What's the
And
question?
so, for those who might not have seen it, it was called Pastor Meets Gritty. Gritty is a friend of the show, friend of Mo's, a friend of mine. He moved up from New York City to Utica. I met him in person for the first time. We drove around Utica. We went to an Italian restaurant. Mo vomited in a restaurant. We
I
dropped him
did.
off.
Yes, I did. No, it's
So,
horrifying.
so, would you like to fill in any of the gaps that people didn't know about your performance at the restaurant in Utica?
First of all, there was no performance at the restaurant. I don't know what you're referring. I act very okay at the restaurant. I mean, I will say I was eating these jerkies that Thomas had for like I don't even know how long, and I ate the whole bag.
How
And
many? How many of them were they?
it was about
They were
like
like sausage jerky,
yeah, they
right?
were like sausage jerky, which I gave up pork for a few months now, actually. The most I'll eat in terms of pork, the last time I ate it was maybe 4 months ago, and I had like bacon or something. But usually I go with like turkey bacon, stuff like that. Other stuff. So I think what happened, and I'm always getting warned about this, like, hey, look, if you stop eating pork, if you go back to it, it's gonna kill you. And that wasn't a lie because I ate like eight of them, eight, and they were pretty decent size. I just kept eating them because I was trying to get some snack in. It had a lot of calories in it, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be fine.
Uh-huh.
And when we was in the car, I was like, my stomach was hurting a little, but I was like, maybe I'm just hungry. I just ate a snack. I'd probably need more. And when we got there, everything was good. Like I didn't feel anything. I ate the what do we have for appetizer?
We had fried calamari.
Yes, which was delicious. Oh man, that was so good. I had that. The soup was fantastic. Um, and then once we got to the meal, all our ingredients, I started still feeling like a little. My stomach started getting tight before the food got there. But I was like, again, I was just thinking to myself, nah, I'm probably still hungry. I'm just gonna eat. By the time I got to the meal, and I had like a margarita, I was sipping on a margarita, slurping. I was nowhere near done with the first one, and I had to get up. I thought it was just using the bathroom. Did that, came back, thought I was good, and it was just something was just hit me. Felt like a weird stomach thing
Well,
going
then you
on.
drank the rest of the second margarita.
Yeah, at the end though, because I wanted to finish them both because they were really good. It was just that I think because when I vomited, it was the sausage that came up first.
That was great. I walked in, splat. So you alright in there? Yeah. It's a jerky.
It's just the taste of the sausage. And but yeah, when I came home, took a shower, I ate the food and I felt fine.
So you did eat the food.
Yeah, no, I ate it right. I was starving. I was like, oh my God, it was like I was so hungry. I just like once I ate that food, I had no problem. So it had to be the sausage.
So when we pulled into the restaurant, we heard a flock of crows overhead. I
You
think they
did.
they might have been warning you.
I think they really were. I was thinking about that in the shower. I was like, I think those crows were trying to warn me, don't do it. Relax. part of me was like regretting. I was like, I should have just ordered the food, kept it home, and then whatever, see what was going on with my stomach. But I was so hungry. I was so hungry. I was so excited to go back to that restaurant. Actually, I think that's the second time I've been there.
Okay. All right. It is a good restaurant.
It's a great restaurant. If you're ever in Utica, tell them the name, Pastor. They got to go to that restaurant.
Carmela's.
Yes. Is there any other Carmelos anywhere else, or is that just a Utica one?
Oh, I'm sure that there's a Carmela's restaurant somewhere. I mean, it's a pretty common Italian name.
That's true. That's true. It seems like a chain restaurant, but the food was great. Yeah, I
I
seem
don't
to
think
enjoy
that
your
one's a
food.
chain.
Hmm.
I don't think that's a chain.
Oh, okay. But like, it seemed like your food was great. Everything was great. We had a dipsy, dissy waitress.
We're calling the name of the restaurant, and now you're calling out the waitress.
I was not saying nothing bad. She was a little dissy, but she was great. I mean, I liked her. I liked
Well,
her.
but I didn't know why she brought you two drinks,
Exactly why I like her.
and I don't know. I don't know why that you needed to have a stronger drink. Mo ordered a stronger drink, and she brought him two drinks.
It was watered down. It
Well, you
was
are.
strong. I said
How
more
how can
alcohol.
you complain about a watered down drink when you are a first class lightweight?
That's super light. I'm not lightweight in terms of how do you say?
What's your top number of beers?
My top numbers of beer is 4 to 5.
4 to 5,
Yeah.
and you're wasted at 4.
No, I'm buzzed at about 4,
At
and then
you're buzzed at 1.
no, that's not true. I'm not buzzed at 1. Don't believe him on that. I'm not a lightweight.
I've been on Zoom with you
I
where
had
you sipping
3.
along, and at the end of 1, you're buzzed.
I'm not buzzed. I'm just lighter. That's not
I don't know
buzz
if
to me.
you're.
Buzz is like, isn't buzz like you get the warmth of it and you start feeling it and your brain just
Yeah,
gets a
yeah.
little. Yeah, that doesn't happen to me until like 3. 1, I start feeling like relaxed, no alcohol in my system. 2, I start feeling alcohol. 3, I'm buzzed. 4, I'm like ready to keep going. A little bit stronger buzz, and then 5, I'm like, I'm wasted. I'm not gonna lie. I'm done at 5. I have no body weight. Leave me alone.
That's true. And I don't know if you caught on the podcast that I said that you were a lightweight, and I said, "Thank God you're a lightweight."
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I
Yeah,
mean, I say the same thing all the time. People joke with me about that. They're like, "You're lightweight," and to be honest with you, I have my father was an alcoholic, so I am very grateful that I don't need a lot of alcohol. That I can just end after 2 cups. I'm very grateful for that.
yeah.
I
So
don't have I don't have an addiction personality.
I don't know that your camera angle is working because you're talking to the center line. There you go.
Oh, because my camera is on my right. I'll
Yeah.
look at it.
Okay. Well, at least you're center now.
Yes, not I'm centered.
You're
Yes,
center now.
there we go. I look good.
And anything going on in Utica? Anything going on in your life that you wanted to share?
Let's see. I got a new job. I'm not gonna say what it is.
Okay.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I will say this. I will say I'm going to be a teacher aide. So I'll just say that. I'm not going to say where I'm working, which is great going into my degree. So I have, gaining more experience in terms of, educations, and I look really forward to it. The school that I interview for was great because you know, I always have that problem with feeling like I have to over explain my disability, and I didn't have to explain anything too much to them. They took everything very well. I really didn't even touch my disability, which was great for me personally. They took everything. I mean, I asked them about my technology and using them stuff, and they're like, "No, we're good with that. If it's for your, it's how you use the technology, not that you are, as long as you're using it for work, we're perfectly fine. So, um, I was
For
happy
those that
about
don't
that.
know that you're sight impaired.
Yes, I'm legally blind. Sight impaired. Anybody can be sight impaired, Pastor. That's why you say legally blind.
Okay, because you're blind in one eye.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can be blind in one eye but have 20/20 in one sight because there's people that have blind in one eye and then they can still drive and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's usually like I know one guy, we call him coach, but he lost his eyesight in a war. So he lost his left eye, but everybody thinks me and him are the same. I'm like, no, he lost his eyesight in a war. He still has 20/20. I have a disease. There's a very big difference. Diseases win all the time.
Okay.
But the job, I'm excited for it. I talk to a lot of my other friends who are legally blind, who also are in the education field, and we've had some great conversations, and they give me some tips and some tricks, and it's been really helpful. Um, Nervous about going back into a school, but I really enjoyed the energy out of a lot of the schools I've been into. Um, the energy always bothered me. It always felt like it just felt like anxiety in those buildings. And this building felt like a lot of energy, positive energy. The workers were moving around with purpose. Everybody, the kids were yelling and happy. I enjoyed it, and I'm excited to know that this is going to be the first school I start working for. And I hope that when I get my degree, that you know I can move up and just become a teacher within this organization.
That sounds good.
hmm
And what do you want to teach history?
I'm thinking about history or English.
Okay.
So, I'm switching between both. I really love history, but then like there's a portion of English that's like more fun to me and there's like more flexibility with it, because with English you could do any literature. Like, I could pick up any book. I could pick up a Batman book, there's a Batman novel. But it's true. No, there's knowledge in all that
You're
stuff.
gonna you're gonna teach AP English, and you'll
Use
be
a
teaching
Batman
out of a
book.
Batman comic book.
It has been done. That's actually a thing. Actually, there are AP classes that actually used I believe it's the what book is that? It's the book when Joker Batman they they say Batman killed Joker. I forget the last laugh I think it was.
Okay.
It's a really good novel. It's used in colleges and stuff like that and AP classes. So, but it's written so well that people use it. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, like comic books and there's so many writings. I don't have to use
Yeah, and I was just
different
thinking
stuff.
that that's not like me.
What?
I kind of like to think outside the box, and that to me, I was just scoffing to make a laugh, and that really wasn't fair.
You're gonna judge my teaching style before I even get there, Pastor. I mean, it's so funny because I get kids all the time, like that I worked with when I was at the center, and as I go along, they see me and they say, "Oh, did you have your teaching degree yet, Mo?" And then some of those kids I believe are still in some of those kids I know actually go to the school that I'm going to be working in, but they're in middle school and going into high school, and it excites me because I'm like, oh, maybe I can be teaching some of those kids because when I was telling them things that I would teach them and stuff, they were really excited. They love the idea of reading comic books and manga and like books like Narnia and fantasy books because it's English, so it's
Mhm.
like the point is just to creative thinking and writing and different writing styles and poetry books and stuff like that because I love poetry. So I'm excited, but I get young kids though for my first time around.
um, well, I'm going to turn off my camera for just a second.
Go ahead.
I think it went out of focus. There's my ministry picture that Justin thinks is hilarious.
And Stephanie was terrified of.
She was terrified of it.
Stephanie was terrified of it. Remember that? When Gritty was using the Zoom,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
she didn't know
she
who
didn't
it
know who that
was.
was, and she said that picture was terrifying.
Uh
It was just some guy.
huh.
I can never forget
Yeah.
that because she came in with the creepy music and it was just
Some
a picture
miscellaneous.
of you. Oh my god, that was great. She's like, "What the hell is that?" She thought it was like a memorial picture. That I was like, that's true. That could be your memorial picture. If you pass away, they put it in your on front of your casket, on top of your casket. That could be the picture.
That's not the picture I want up.
I mean, but we're gonna put that picture up and put it next to whatever picture we're gonna send, and then we're just gonna laugh at you, dude. Oh my god, we're gonna crack up through the whole funeral.
Yeah. Justin's gonna sit there and snicker. Well, what I want to do tonight is look at a couple news stories and just get your
Okay,
reaction.
let's go.
Um, so do you know who Mike Pompeo is?
Heard the name before. Is that? I feel like
He
that's a
was
swimmer or athlete or something.
no, he
Or
was
politician.
Donald Trump's Secretary of State.
Yep. Now I know what we're talking about.
All right. Well, he's I think he started. I think it's a pact that he started, and I'll just read this article, and I want to get your reaction. And the title of this article, uh, and I printed it out, and I don't see the name of the publication. I did not write this. The title of this is Did Mike Pompeo Become a Spokesman for Crack? Internet revels in Pompeo's call for Americans to become, and I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to restart reading, okay?
Got you.
All right. Mike Pompeo has served as the director of the Central Intelligence Agency and as the Secretary of State. Apparently, these positions don't require much marketing experience because Pompeo's new lingo for conservative is inspiring laughter across the internet. Pompeo wants the big bad right wingers to call themselves pipe hitters.
Okay. Okay, I'm composing myself.
So what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Crackheads.
On Tuesday, and that was this past Tuesday, Pompeo's new political action committee, CAVPAC, CAV is short for cavalry, tweeted a call to action in the form of a question: Are you a pipe hitter? The tweet included an apparently made up definition of pipe hitter. CAVPAC defines pipe hitter as someone who is unapologetically American, someone who fights for our future, someone who never gives an inch, someone who is dedicated to stand against the radical left's agenda. Pompeo, quote, tweeted his pack, calling all unapologetic Americans to join me to become a pipe hitter.
Wow. This would have made more sense in the Industrial Revolution era.
This is crazy.
Oh man.
And part of the article is covered by an ad. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that when I printed it out. But there's they have some tweets from people. And this is by a man by the name of Walter Schaub. This Mike character says he hits the pipe and would like you to join him. No thanks, Buster. Meth, crank, smack, crack, wackadoodle, heffalump, or whatever else this beatnik toots up his pipe is a ticket to Nowheresville. A dead end street. Say no to Mike. Don't be a hophead.
Don't be a hophead. I don't know why I thought about a rabbit just now. Just thought about Bunny. Bugs Bunny. Just a hophead. I like
And
hophead though.
what's that?
I like hophead though.
I don't even know what that means. What is hophead?
I don't know, but I like it. It sounds cool. I would be a hophead. It sounds fun to be a hophead, bruh. It has
Well,
like that type of thing going on.
I just think it reflects one of two things. Either I'm just so out of touch with the right, or Mike Pompeo is just out of touch with people.
I think it would be the second one. I mean, because there's, I mean, let's be real. Republican slogans suck. Their
How do you
advertisements.
really feel?
I mean, I mean, the Democrats got their problems with their slogans too. I mean, Biden's slogans suck. What was it? What was it? Some old ass word. I can't even remember. It was so bad. It was so bad. But I mean, I
Oh
hope
yeah,
this
what
is.
was Biden's fighting for the soul of America?
Yeah, it was that. But what was the slogan? The word he had on his truck, his tour truck. The It was an old word too. Oh man, I can't remember it.
Well, he encouraged black families to play stories as their children were going to sleep on the record player
When was that?
during one of the debates.
On a record player?
I think we'll help him with language skills if I remember right. I might be remembering wrong,
So
but he wanted them to play it on the record player.
on a record player, nothing else. Not YouTube. Cause that can never work.
Yeah.
YouTube videos can never work. I just feel insulted that I didn't even know that was a thing, and I'm feeling insulted like he's taking jabs at us, and we just let that happen. I mean,
Well,
whatever.
he's a bit out of touch.
Uh, Who's more out of touch, Mike or Biden?
I don't know. I just get, and let me just say this, that we've avoided politics so far on the show, but,
We're not talking about politics. We're talking about the politician.
yeah, well, I think that all of Washington is just out of touch with the people of America.
Okay, now we're talking about politics.
Well,
Now
you asked me. You
I
asked
mean,
me which.
I thought I asked you about the two particular people. You gave me the Washington
Oh, I
answer.
thought you said the Democrats or the Republicans. Well,
No, I asked
no.
you who do you think is more out of touch, Mike, whatever his last name, or Joe Biden?
Oh, I don't know. I think that they're well. Yeah, I mean that was my answer. I think that the whole uh, bubble that these political people are living in is just out of touch, and even when they get pulled out of what people want, they just ignore it.
But here's what I will say though, since we're already in this room, I would always give credit to Republicans because when they did their whole conference thing, uh, they advertised a lot of young politicians, right? Up and coming Republican politicians between black, white, Spanish. Like they did a lot of that, which I was really impressed by. But then the Democrats was all the advertising was older Democrats, right? And
Mhm.
that to me was very interesting, right? Because as a 26-year-old person, man, I'm gonna think about like when I look at a group and I see too many older people, I know there's a level in my head that says they're out of touch with me. They don't know what I want or what my group of people are thinking anymore. But the fact that the Republicans had this representative of young people that they're training up and advertise them was to me more like appealing than what the Democrats did. So I kind of give them I give the I don't know. I think Republicans have like a better strategy when it comes to like bringing people in.
Well, yeah, it seems like an opposite campaign of Barack Obama's first run for president.
Mm,
I mean, that was really directed toward younger people.
and it worked.
It worked.
It worked. I not around the second time, but it worked.
So yeah, I was looking up Biden campaign slogans, and there's this article that I came upon. It was written in October 6, 2020.
I'm
Uh,
scared.
It's on Medium,
Oh God.
and it's by Daniel G. Jennings.
Here we go.
And it was saying new Biden campaign slogans. I think this was a good find on the fly right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
It says presidential candidate Joe Biden slogans are dreadful. Disgustingly, Biden's team keeps coming up with worse slogans. For instance, the current Biden slogan is Unite for a Better Future, which is dull and meaningless. Sadly,
Hmm.
that slogan is better than such turkeys as No Malarkey. And I think
That's what it was.
that
No
was on his bus.
malarkey. That was on
No
his
Malarkey.
bus. No
No
malarkey.
Malarkey. Like that.
That was such a horrible slogan. Why
I
did
haven't
he?
heard that said since my dad said it when he was driving me home from college.
Oh my God, that's horrifying. To even think about that.
The other ones were Restore the Soul of America, Build Back Better. I never even heard that one, but that doesn't
No,
make sense.
I don't get it.
Build Back Better.
Build
And
back better.
yeah,
Guess he's gonna put a brick on everybody's back.
it's like Melania's Trump's campaign against bullying called Be Best.
Be best. Yeah, he's saying it towards the bully. He wasn't trying. You think Trump was trying to stop bullying? No, he was saying be
Well, that's
best,
what.
as in bullies keep beating their asses. Be best, toughen up. That's what he was saying. He was saying to the one that was getting bullied, be best, get better, bro. Stop getting your ass beat.
You're using the A word an awful lot tonight.
How many times did I use the A word?
Oh, probably about 7 at least.
Well, then that's the holy number.
And the last one was truth over lies. That's a real snore.
That's a real snore coming from the guy that like did the crime bill and advertised crack into yeah, coming back to crack.
So this writer says the Biden team seems to have a knack for creating lousy slogans. In response, we at List of Doom want to help America's humorists by making Biden easier to mock and more preposterous and offensive slogans for Biden 2020. So I'm just going to read what these people came up with. These are proposed campaign slogans for Biden. Make America dull again. Make China great again. Make America boring again. Make America mild again. Make America bland again. Make America white again.
Oh, I got one. Make America add some mayo to America.
That's a man to America?
No, mayo to America.
Oh, that's a mayo to America. That's a good one. Let me see. Let me skip some of these. They're really harping on his whiteness. Unite for a whiter tomorrow. America needs more sleep in the Oval Office.
Oh my God.
He's old. He'll die soon. His vice president is a woman.
That's funny.
Experience matters. We need a president who remembers the Civil War.
I say this not because I'm against women. I say this because I understand and I truly believe this is how the Democratic Party and politicians think. This is as far as women going. Vice president, that's as far as you getting. Like they're gonna try so hard to not make any woman a president. They'll just
I
get
don't
you
know.
close enough. I don't. I truly believe they'll just let women get close enough, and then they'll snatch it away from them.
If you can convince people of the right talking points and you carry water for the 1% in corporations, anybody can be president.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. But how about this? That woman will not be able to do some of the things that she's been telling women, like the feminine. Like she would have to get support by a feminist movement, black people, the Spanish population. Um, well, a lot of Muslim people are. A lot of them are Republicans. But you
You
have to
have
get a
data
lot of.
on that?
No, that's what they said last time
Oh,
when
okay.
they was going running through the different groups. They were
Okay.
saying a lot of Middle Eastern people were Republican. Um, like Colombians are mostly vote Republican. Cubans, Cuban Americans, I believe it was. Yep. But no, you know, you would have to get all you would have to tell all these people and then just get in office and just be like, all lie. I'm sorry, I can't do none of that for y'all. That's what it would come down to because the first woman president, if she exists, that she's gonna be in a room full of men and they're gonna be like, we know you ran with the whole feminist stuff and all that, but none of that stuff can happen, right? You need to press buttons and kill people in other countries, right? And she's like, but we don't want to kill people in other. I don't want to kill people in other countries. Press the button.
Were you doing the Kamala laugh?
No, but that's just funny. That's a good.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna do it. That's how she laughed. I don't remember her laugh being like that.
Yeah, everybody. Well, I can't say everybody, but different people have different imitations of her laugh.
Oh my god, that's good.
Um,
But Kamala, I liked her, and I wanted her to be, and I voted for her as president. Voted for her was because she has what it takes, so that if something happened in the world, like a war or something like that, she's already in a position and mindset and trained to do what's necessary for the country.
how is she trained to lead the
Because she
country
was
in
for what
war?
she trained. The woman was in California doing what FBI work, working with the government and incarcerating people. And on top, what I mean by that is that, of
Well,
course,
she
she has
was she was the attorney
uh,
general.
attorney general, so she's arresting people. You got to be a cold person. You got to be a cold person. So I mean, I mean, not literally cold, but you got to have a sense of part of your heart that's like got to put people down, put them away, do what's necessary. So I mean, she has that mindset. She's trained to be like that, to make tough decisions. And I don't see her as a woman that would ever, if even if the people, because other women in the country would go, oh my God, why would you allow war and war and da da da. But she would be like, she'll understand that was necessary.
I don't know if I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say about that. I think it's something like out of the top six weapon makers,
Are
uh,
women.
corporations. Five of them are CEOs of the top weapon makers in the United States.
Yeah, but the average person don't know that, Pastor.
Well, I know,
The
but
average
I
person
don't
might be
think I don't
hearing it and
think
say,
that.
"Oh, what? What do you mean?" You might blow some feminist movement people, some women
Well, we
minds
were
right
we
now.
were told in the 80s and 90s that if more women were in the government, that there'd be less war.
They still
And
say that.
well, I mean, we
That's still the
have
narrative.
800 military bases and we're bombing, I don't know what, 7 countries right now. I don't see where I don't see the outcome that was predicted. I don't think gender has anything to do with how
That's
warlike
what
the
I'm
government is.
saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I mean, like, to be honest with you, if I have a president, man or woman, I want to make sure my thought process is, look, I'm not stupid like a lot of other people that's in this country that just believe that nothing bad can ever happen to us, right? We understand where our position is. We understand that we have a if you're realistic, you understand that there's a lot of enemies that we have. If our guard was dropped down, they would take advantage of that in a heartbeat. So I need a leader that's going to say that has the goals to, like, if something happens, yo, stay over there because we will get crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want a leader that's going to be like, oh, let's be, let's just be friends and here's all our stuff. I don't want that.
Well,
I want our stuff to be our
let me
stuff.
put this past you, because I think we have a different perspective on things. That I would like to see the country less focused on war and less afraid of people around the other countries around the world. Because what what my perception of when Washington says that we have to we our concern is national security, that what they're saying is that national security includes our interests abroad. So if a military base gets attacked in Somalia, then we view that as America is under attack.
That I
That
disagree.
our reach is so wide across the world, and we're in places that don't want us there.
And I agree with you. And
Well,
that's not
let me just pull it back. Let me just say one more
okay.
thing, and then you respond.
Okay.
So when we're talking about people people attacking the United States, that I've always been of the belief that excuse me, I've always been of the belief that our greatest defense are two oceans and an ally on each border.
Hmm.
I mean, who's going to come? Is Mexico going to come marching in, or is Canada going to come marching in?
I mean, I feel like Canada might have a chance if they go, because we'll be like, whoa, what are y'all doing? What are you guys doing? You making a delivery? No. um, my response to that, honestly, is that I believe that when it comes to having an army, I agree with you, and I stand on the fact that you're right about, and that's part of the what I think about it. We shouldn't be attacking anybody else. That I 100% agree with you. My mind frame on it is that we have made enough damage, right? And we have made enough enemies in the world that I'm not saying to continue doing the horrible stuff, right? I'm not
Mhm.
saying that. I'm saying, you know, regardless of the history and what we have done, I still don't want to ever be put in a position where any enemy could decide that, like, hey, we're gonna join up and we're gonna come in and um we're gonna do all these things, right? Because you still have enemies like Russia and small other groups and stuff like that. And I think and I think the government knows that. I think that we say the whole like national security thing, but I think the truth is that the government knows that they've effed up so much over these last 100 years that they can't even take their eyes off other countries at this point.
I don't think that I don't see
I'm not, and that's
any
not an
remorse
excuse.
or
That's not an excuse. I'm
acknowledgement
just
of
saying that I could
wrongdoing.
see somebody in power saying that. I could see somebody with that much power, with that much input into resources, because all these major companies, corporations have so much money coming out of these countries, right?
Hmm.
And that they're pulling out so much resources out of the Middle East and other countries. And there's so many resources that we use. That's not even just oil, but other resources,
And that's what a
plutonium.
lot of these wars are over.
Yes, exactly. You got plutonium and so much stuff. And I can see so many variables to it. But the main thing for me personally as an American is that I can't control the top 20% in what they do. I'm nowhere near them. They These are the 20% of America most powerful control everything, right? They have rooms and everything. They control everything.
Hmm.
Unless you get into that club, there is nothing you could say, do, or even whisper. Everything is
Right.
theories at that point, right? We're just theorizing at this point. You have all that, that the potential of enemies. I'm not saying that we shouldn't back down from these countries. I think we should. We should find better ways to peacefully retain the things that we have and stuff like that. I don't think we have to go to the extremes for the stuff that we do have.
Well, let me put this figure past you:
Mm-hmm.
that the United States spends more money on their military than the next most 10 most powerful countries behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Question.
what's that?
What was your question?
Well, I mean, that's how much we spend on our military, is that we outspend uh, 2 through 11
Why do you think they do that, though? Why do you think we spend so much money on military?
because the military industrial complex has captured the government. President Eisenhower, in his farewell address to the nation, warned about the military industrial complex.
Hmm. Interesting. So in other words, somebody, whoever was in power or whoever is in power now, they're basically keeping us within this cycle to maintain a certain level of power for themselves,
Yeah,
which is
and
which makes sense.
we're continually at war, so the weapons makers are continually making bombs and
You know,
military hardware and things
and
like
then you
that.
sell it to enemies, which is, you know, I mean, listen, I mean, I can get into so many things. I mean, the black market has military grade weapons in it, and you can find it on the internet all the damn time. And it always made me laugh because, like, damn, who in the military is just like stealing this stuff and just selling it, like, to anybody, you know?
I think it's just I don't know. I have no proof, but I mean, I think at this point that a lot of weapons and guns and things like that. It's like I don't know if you heard the story this week that Amazon got caught throwing out like over 100,000 items per week
Really?
in their UK warehouse. And I think at this point that we already know that there are more guns in the United States than there are people.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that just this stuff is just lying around. You know, I remember a story in Albany um, where a 10-year-old boy was arrested for taking a shot at somebody. And they said, "Where did you get the gun?" And he said, "Well, uh, I just ran to the garbage can where I don't know what he called it, but let's just say it was the community gun.
Mm.
There was a gun in the garbage can and everybody knew it was there. And when he perceived that it was time to use it, he ran to the garbage can, got the gun out, and took a shot at somebody."
Wow. That's crazy. What was the culture of that kid?
I don't know. That was a while ago. It might have been like
Wow,
10 years ago.
that's
But
a that's
yeah.
odd. Even like even in New York City, as a kid, we always knew where the pistols and what corner stores and local areas had guns, and how much it was. You can get a gun for like $100 to $200, depending on the location and the store owner, and it's always relative available. It's never been
Hmm.
unavailable. I mean, anybody. I mean, realistically, anybody illegally can get a gun. It's not hard. It's probably easy. It's as easy as getting a pack of gum. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
it is. Like
Well,
people
I'm
think it's not.
surprised. I'm surprised that you can't walk into Ocean State job lots or big lots and get a gun.
We sell you a car and a gun. Hey, take this Nissan 2020.
No, I'm not talking about a car dealership. I'm talking about a Big Lots and Ocean State job
Oh,
lot
like the
are
big, all the
the
yeah, like
overflow stores.
like the BJ's and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these they specialize in overstocked items and they sell
yeah.
them a little cheaper. Yeah, yeah. So you can go in and get some lawn furniture, some mittens and a parka off season and a gun.
Oh my god. I'm sure they tried to because Walmart has guns
I think they took the guns out of Walmart, didn't they?
during the pandemic, but that'll come back. Unless it's already back in certain areas, but like they took the gun out. It was like a nice little rifle, I guess, with a limiter in it, so you can only like shoot two bullets out of it. I don't mean whatever, but yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Could you imagine Big Lots? Big Lots is now selling big boys. Hunting season is right around the
Yeah.
corner.
Buy you gun off of Amazon and during Prime Day.
I'm telling you, Amazon probably wants to do that so badly. Amazon probably wants a gun license manufacturer or something so badly. They
You
probably
know,
try to do that so many times, and the government is like, "You're too much. You're too powerful already. We can't have you stealing money from us now."
and I'd like to clarify, for people who are listening. I mean, I know that people probably something that we're going to say today will offend somebody, but I used to be against the Second Amendment, but I'm not anymore. I wouldn't be against some regulation on assault rifles, uh, but I'm not going to get loud about it either. I think that the only reason why, and this is my perspective. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I just have a feeling that one of the reasons why the U.S. government has not completely taken away everybody's rights is because the American people are armed to the teeth.
Of course, but that was also part of the founders' plan, though. They never wanted the government to have that much power to be. They stated it already. When the country was founded, they purposely did that, though.
Yeah.
They never wanted. They purposely didn't want a government where the government controlled everything
Right.
on purpose. So to me, all the arguments about it, I was against guns for a long time as well. And just especially around the pandemic and before it. Actually, the George Floyd thing was the thing that broke me. That was like, you know what? Let's just have them. Let's just teach each other how to regulate this stuff, find new rules and stuff like that. But at this point, just have them. Assault rifles, I agree with you. There's no reason for military grade weapons to be in the hands of civilians. That's too wild. Like even when I see school shooters, I'm like, how are you getting these things? Like I know you can get them easily, but like it's just like, who is just not checking for you? Is it your dad gun? But like our country is built on the idea of our government not having that power because let's be real, you just stated yourself that the military itself is purposely selling things. How do you not know, if anything else happened, the military gets ballsy enough, it's like, you know what, restriction everything. So at the end of the day, it's cool. And then like, what if we did have a Trump for another 4 years? What if things got a little bit more crazy and and then people we saw the taste of a dictator in our country with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
What if we have 4 more years of that nonsense?
Well, we do have a taste of a dictator in New York too.
Mm.
I voted for Governor Cuomo, but I've always said that I was voting for our dictator.
We do have it. You're right. I forgot what he said about us going back to college. Oh, we gotta have vaccines. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. He's like forcing the hand, and he's not getting voted ever again.
I don't know.
No, he's not. After what he did with, come on.
I don't think he's going to, but I'm prepared to be surprised.
Italians his own people hate him now.
Do they? Where did you read that?
You don't remember when? Oh, you don't remember when he did the whole the old folk home?
Yeah.
And how you didn't see the news and they were on YouTube and stuff like that. Just go back and check and how they was like people on Twitter and the news. They were talking to other fellows Italians. They were pissed off.
Yeah, I was upset too.
You couldn't mention his name. Saturday Night made a whole joke about it. Everybody was just joking about it because it was like, you know how hard it is to piss off your own kind, Italians? Like, y'all stick together like glue.
I think he upset people across the board.
Yeah, but it's more funny that a bunch of Italians got mad at him. And there was like a few months ago, they were praising him. And then he had the nerve to write a book and said, I did a great job.
Yeah, it's...
Meanwhile, people lost their grandmothers.
The egos of these people that are running our governments is just
beautiful. I would love to be a politician for like like 2 years. I think it would be a fun job. Can you
Yeah.
see it? Could you see me being a politician? All the shit
I
I would
can
do?
see you doing it.
Oh man, all the crap I would do, Pastor.
Yeah. I just wonder I just wonder what happens to people when they go to Washington. You
Mhm.
know, like AOC said that she was prepared to be a one-term congressperson, and now she's, looks like she's gotten comfortable, and she's rubbing elbows with Nancy Pelosi and calling her mama a bear, and carrying water for the establishment, and just she's unimpressive at this point.
What do you mean? The same thing that happens to anybody that gets like walks in a room and they say, "Hey, we like you. By the way, you stick with us.
But I'd like to actually
Here's your
hear.
paycheck."
I like to like be in her mind. When what was said to her, like what was she thinking? Like, nah, I'm not going to be a one-term congresswoman. I like these clothes. I like this outfit. I like being important. I like being the center of attention.
I think that's I think what's cool and terrifying about politicians. The cool part is that politics is like its own level of Hollywood, right? His own branch, right?
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
You have Hollywood, and then you have politicians, right? And then you got
Mhm.
like wrestlers, like the WWE. So you got all these different forms of acting, but it's just acting. And I think what happens is for a lot of people is you grow up thinking this justified reasoning about politics, right? And I think when you were younger, politics were more of the fact of more of a moral thing and more pride, and people took pride in their political standpoints. But it's always been a show, though, right? You always needed
Yeah.
to. Once you was in there, you was in a circle, Democrat or Republican. You were friends with each other. It was not like you hated everybody. It was not like you didn't go golfing with the Republicans or go to the
No.
parties with them. You still
No.
knew
I
who
mean,
it was. So
I,
I think
I, I, I would argue. I would argue with my conservative friends, and we get all hot under the collar, and then the next day it was like nothing happened. It was
but
just it was sport.
yeah, it was sport, right? But now it's well, sadly today it's like completely separate. But like with politicians, it's just it's a show. It's Broadway, it's just a big
Well,
ass
no, no,
show.
don't give it that much credit, because I've said for a long time that I really identify with your statement about the government being a branch of Hollywood. I've never expressed it like that, but
Mhm.
I like the way you expressed it. But I said, these guys and these gals, they get away with doing some of the worst theater ever produced in America, and and we've got to watch it. And
because
sometimes
because
we suck it up, and we're
because
like,
no one
oh.
because there's like you got to be an extra, like to be a politician you got to be an excellent manipulator and actor in some way. Like the whole concept of politicians, modern politician, to most average people in America is to take it serious. That is the average American person. There's people that take the WWE serious,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So people just take politicians so serious because they don't think of it as anything else. They don't think of these people, when the cameras is off, they walk into a room, they say, "Hey guys, we're about to have a big hot Christmas dinner. Bring your kids here," and all the kids come together and like, "Oh, Julia and Tommy, it's been a while," and everybody's playing and talking to each other and getting drunk. They don't think about the fact that everybody is hanging out with each other and they go to each other's yacht clubs and stuff. No one thinks about that. So it's like when you have the average American, they're just easy to fall for because they just choose a team instead of realizing the government is its own team. Like
Hmm.
that's how you're supposed to view it. They're their own team. It's just a team of people where a team that just says two slides go, "Oh, we think this way and we think that way," but they're all in the background making the same decisions.
Right. Right.
Just
Yeah,
they're
I
just
think
going
there's
about the
one
decisions in a different
party.
way.
There's one party in Washington, and
Yeah, I can see
the
that.
Republican and Democrat is theater.
Yeah, it's just a big. That's what it always looks like to me. I've never looked at any of it. I think the only time it becomes real is when like we think bring certain cases to the courts and stuff like that. But everything else to me is fake. Just shaking hands and kissing babies and saying, "Hey, we're friends." I mean,
Because
hey, why not? If you can
economically,
make $100 million a year,
militaristically, uh, both parties are in, you know, pretty much in agreement. There's not much argument over uh, invading or bombing. There's not much argument over tax cuts for the rich. Uh, there's not a lot of, well, there used to be argument about printing money, but I don't really think the Republicans have really spoken up when they printed this last round because of COVID. 25% of the amount of money that's been printed since 1971.
mm, this is what I will say because you made me think about something, and I'm gonna even go deeper into my intelligence zone right now. For anybody that's listening to this right now and got this far, I'm gonna ask you a question. Now, matter of fact, ask yourself this question. For everything just Paris has just said, and if they're all in agreement like that with each other, ask yourself this, because I truly believe that the reason why certain groups are split up the certain type of way, like we have, the black and feminist movement and certain liberal ideals are on one side, and the other side they have maybe you know another group of people, don't believe in abortions and whatever the case may be. um I think that's all that is for the government. The main purpose is to keep what they're mainly doing on focus for themselves, but they know that one party can't control the thoughts of everybody, right? Because that would be hectic, right? If one party represented the entire country. So splitting it up to two different mindsets of basically saying yes and no's, because that's what it is, right? Think about I always think of I this is the best way you can think about it. When you think about Republicans, think about the stop sign, like the no sign. When you think of no, think of red, and then blue is yes to whatever you think, whatever people want to say yes to. So it's like that. Like, some people are like, no, and it's just the religious side. So to split up those different groups and ideas, that's all that is. It's like you're just little branches to one tree, two
Well,
big
I think
branches.
that the cultural issues is really the only difference between the parties.
Hmm.
And I, I mean, my perspective on it is that both parties are disingenuous to a certain degree with the level in which they believe what they're saying they believe in.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the tree itself has a solid core in what it believes in. The branches, the two stronger branches, which are the two parties, are the same, the different cultures of the same ideology, same core. And then all the little branches are just all the different groups that attaches themselves to those ideas. But what I'm opposing is people really ask themselves, because I see people argue so hardly about things, and I'm like, well, look at the whole tree, step back and look at the tree for what it is, and instead of looking at the branches and trying to be the worm.
So, Mo, where do we go from here?
Well, I'm a middleman, so I'll stay a middleman, and I'll just go to whatever side I think is better for me and when I want to be and whoever I like. So don't ever ask me what side I'm on, because I will tell you my side.
Well, I didn't ask you what side you're on.
Oh,
I just said, where do we go with the conversation now?
I don't know.
I really did enjoy this conversation. We both kind of have a cynical view of the government. And
I
while we
wish
were talking,
I wish I had knew it was gonna go there. I would have had better talking points. Those.
yeah, well, we set out to go somewhere else, and that's where we ended up, and that's fine with me. The other story that uh, I wanted to talk to you about, we can talk about for a little while. Uh, is about John McAfee. And I don't know if you heard about him or not.
Nope.
Well, John McAfee was the inventor of McAfee antivirus software.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And he's been found dead in Barcelona in the prison hours after the Spanish court agreed to extradite him to the U.S. to face tax evasion charges. Now, John McAfee is a controversial figure. He's pretty wild. I would hear news about him here and there. I kind of was fascinated with the guy. I never really followed him, too much, but was interested when I would hear about him. I'll read this article about his death and then talk about his life too.
Let's go. I can't wait.
Uh,
The guy,
so
the guy that made a virus protector became the biggest virus of them all.
uh, well, I don't know. There might be there might be truth in that somewhere, but all right. The Catalan Justice Department said medics tried to resuscitate the 75-year-old, but were not successful.
Meaning that
And
they only sat there, ate donuts as he died.
it added that everything indicates McAfee has taken his own life. A controversial figure in the tech world, his company released the first commercial antivirus software. McAfee Virus Scan, which I have on my computer, helped to spark a multi-billion-dollar industry in the computer world and was eventually sold to technology giant Intel for more than $7.6 billion.
Dun, dun, dun,
And
dun.
in October 2020, John McAfee was arrested in Spain when he was about to board a plane to Turkey and accused of failing to file tax returns for 4 years despite earning millions of from consulting work, speaking engagements, cryptocurrencies, and selling the rights to his life story. The U.S. Justice Department alleged that McAfee evaded tax liability by having his income paid into bank accounts and cryptocurrency exchange accounts in the names of nominees. He was also accused of concealing assets, including a yacht and real estate property, also in other people's names. And I heard some people talking about him, and not only did he not pay his taxes, but I think he was goading the government to come get him over Twitter. Uh, so he had taken off and was pretty much on the run. What was the other thing I was gonna say?
Wow, this guy
Uh,
is impressive.
oh, and he's also accused of securities fraud with the cryptocurrencies. He would get on the Twitter and say that he thought that this one particular uh, altcoin, I think they were mostly altcoins, not necessarily cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin.
Hmm.
But he would say that this altcoin, he believed that this altcoin was going to take off while he owned it. So if a lot of people invested in it, he cashed out, and then they would crash. That's the accusation.
Damn.
So Spain's national court authorized his extradition to the U.S. to face the charges on Wednesday morning. And one podcaster I was listening to was questioning the actual approval for the extradition. That he wasn't a murderer. Um, it's a civil crime. So they were questioning the extradition. I don't know whether I question it or not, but that
I,
was.
I mean, I think they can call you back here for any damn thing.
Well, yeah, the country that has you has to agree.
Yeah.
In recent years, McAfee had repeatedly claimed that there was a plot to get him. However, the court said there was no revealing evidence that he was being uh, prosecuted for political or ideological reasons, Spanish newspaper El País reported. He had argued in a hearing earlier this month that the charges against him were politically motivated and that he would spend the rest of his life in prison if returned to the U.S. Um, but Nishay Sanin, McAfee's lawyer, said he intended to fight all the charges. This, this is again the U.S. government trying to erase John McAfee. Mr. Sasson told NPR on Wednesday this man was a fighter in the minds of everyone who knew him. He will always be a fighter. And let me
Do
see.
something, Pastor. This man knew something.
Well, that's my point. And let me just go. I have this very long article, and I think I'm going to try to give you bullet points.
Go ahead.
And this was from the BBC. It was called from 2013. It was called John McAfee Attic Coder Runaway. And so, who is the real John McAfee? He's the man who went on the run after his neighbor was found dead, face up with a bullet in his head. He's the man who jump started the multi billion-dollar antivirus industry and now thinks he can make you invisible on the internet. So he was a tech uh, a, a tech genius.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jump to uh, a subheading in the article: "Addicted and Expelled." Despite a southern accent, the bleach blonde and goateed businessman is in fact half British, the son of an Englishwoman who met an American soldier stationed in the UK during World War II. I feel as much British as I do American, McAfee said. There's not much difference between our countries. They moved to Virginia when he was young, where he had a troubled childhood. His father was an alcoholic who, when McAfee was age 15, shot himself dead. In the following years, McAfee says he too began drinking heavily and taking drugs, but still managed to maintain a promising academic career. That came to an end in the 1960s when Northeast State Louisiana State College terminated his PhD in mathematics after it was revealed he had slept with an undergraduate he was mentoring. They later married, and McAfee turned his skills to a series of programming jobs with some of the biggest tech organization of the
Guess you can't
time.
do that.
What's that?
Guess you can't sleep with the girls that you're mentoring.
So he worked with NASA, General Electric, Siemens, Univac, Xerox, all the while continuing to indulge in his addictions. Most of my bosses also use drugs of some kind, and that statement stood out to me. I remember uh, when I was first trying to get myself clean. I had met this man who had moved to Schenectady from New York City, and he had been a dealer on Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
He sold crack and heroin, and he assured me that a large number of people on Wall Street are high.
Very true.
Yeah, while they're shooting up in their
This is
office.
very true. A lot of people that do the stock market, addicts. Addicts. This, I mean, yeah,
I could imagine that. I mean, just I guess just trading all day would be releasing a lot of endorphins, dopamine, adrenaline.
yeah. Pick your drug. Go for it.
So he said,
And-
most of my bosses also use drugs of some kind. He said, I was in the tech field after all. We were the leading edge in technology. We were the leading age in personal experimentation. I had to hide it from my mother and sometimes from my wife, but in the work environment, depending on where you worked, in some companies, drugs were taken openly at lunchtime in people's offices. It was a bizarre time. Despite his troubles, McAfee managed to land a job at defense contractor Lockheed Martin, where he worked on a classified voice recognition program.
Hmm.
There he came across an unusual bit of self replicating code designed to copy itself onto any floppy disk inserted into affected computers. When examined, it contained a message: "Welcome to the dungeon, beware of this virus." When I first read about the Pakistani brain virus, I'd never heard of a virus before, neither had anyone in technology, remembers McAfee. It fascinated me. He worked out a way to disinfect the computers and then spread the virus via the bulletin board system, precursor to the web. The challenge inspired him to set up a business of his own, McAfee Associates, a firm that would later be sold years after he had left to Intel for more than $7.6 billion.
Good lord.
So he was the pioneer of antivirus software. Well, I mean, he seems brilliant. So I'm jumping further down into the article. In 2008, at an age others might be thinking of putting their feet up, McAfee moved to the jungle of Belize with a stated intention of trying to cure another kind of infection. I came across a concept called quorum sensing, in which the technique that bacteria use to communicate with each other. Up until about 10 years ago, we didn't even know that bacteria did communicate, but we find out that they have a very sophisticated communication system. I wanted to explore and investigate that to see if we could come up with new antibiotics. He picked the area, he says, because the plants that grew along the country's Rio Nevera, Nuevo, okay, Rio Nuevo River contain compounds that inhibit bacteria from sending chemical signals to each other, thus thwart their ability to
Communicate.
co-coordinate an
Uh-huh.
attack. Things did not go as planned. The first sign of trouble was when journalists invited to his when journalists invited to his Carmelita Orange Walk base wrote stories that made clear they did not know what to make of the operation. Then a falling out with the microbiologist he was working with, Allison Adnazio, put the project at risk when she quit. Dr. Adnazio, who is now based in Philadelphia, did not want to be interviewed. In April 2012, matters came to a head when the police forces gang suppression unit raided the research facility. And McAfee says the officers claimed they suspected it was being used to make illegal psychostimulant methamphetamine. They
Possible.
shot, what's that?
It's very possible with
It's
McIntyre.
possible.
It's very possible with this man. Like it
McAfee
really is.
McAfee says the officers claim they suspected. Okay, I already read that. They shot his dog, he says, confiscated both his passport and licensed weapons on the property, and briefly imprisoned him before dropping the charges. Under no circumstances did they believe it was a meth lab. Everybody knew it was a biotech lab because I had hired half the people in the village to work there. They all knew what I was doing.
Yeah, so does the drug cartel in Mexico.
It was a pirate haven. It's an extremely corrupt and dangerous place. I knew this, and my friends all advised me against it, and I just thought I was smart enough to sidestep it. Unfortunately, I was not. I was there for a year, and the local politician sent a representative and asked me for $2 million for a campaign donation. I said no. 2 weeks later, they raided my compound. So let me see. Um, while he's in Belize,
Wow. It's a good story. I need to check this book out. Must be on Audible. This guy sounds wild.
yeah, he is wild. So while he was in Belize, he met his wife, who was a prostitute.
Hey man, I knew he was gonna meet his second wife.
Yeah, and she tried to shoot him and stab him, but he kept taking her back. I believe that that this is the same woman who is his present wife.
What happened to the first one?
I don't. I'm not sure what happened to the first one,
We gotta find out what happened to the first one after
but I
this.
want to. I want to get to the murder.
Let's go to the murder. Let's get to the murder because this is so good. This is a great story.
Okay.
This man is a wild guy. He even has a prostitute as a wife that he kept coming back to. Like it's like he's intentionally getting worse and worse. Like it's like there's
Okay. On Thursday, the 8th of November, 2012, McAfee made the local headlines when he donated 40 stun guns, handcuffs, and batons to the local police at a press conference. Mayor Daniel Guerrero thanked him, stating, "Crime is affecting the tourism industry as we have been listed on travel advisories. It's time to stop this. Let us protect our industry and turn San Pedro into." Okay, this is in, I believe he's in Costa Rica now. I'm not sure. Maybe Belize. Uh, I'm not a journalist. Anyway,
I'm just a guy reading a paper.
there's a guy reading an article. Um, that night, the local TV bulletin declared that the hatchet was formally buried, suggesting that the rift between, okay, McAfee and Belize's authorities had ended. Early on Sunday morning, Mr. Fowl was found dead in a pool of his blood by a housekeeper. And did I skip?
Yeah, I think you skipped something. Like, was the Mr. Fowl the police
Yeah.
chief?
Oh, Mr. Okay, so Mr. Fowl, an Orlando sports owner, sports bar owner, who had recently divorced and decided to live in his Belize holiday home, was becoming increasingly irate at his neighbors' activities. There were young girls and bodyguards with guns. Many of these girls were former prostitutes and had very rough lives. It was expressly forbidden to go out in town and drink. The smell of alcohol, he could not be around it. He didn't want any of the girls doing any drugs at all. So he must have been having wild parties at his at his home.
Oh man.
And Gary Fowl was getting sick of it. So early on Sunday morning, Mr. Fowl was found dead in a pool of his blood by his housekeeper. Police called to the scene found a single 9mm shell nearby. They said a mobile phone and laptop were missing, but there were no visible signs of forced entry.
Wow. Wow.
So they accused him, and I believe that uh, I did read this article this morning. Sorry, I have an aging memory.
Well, I wasn't there, so I couldn't. This is all new to me.
I Yeah, he fled the country. He offered a $25,000 bounty for information relating to Fowles' death to get himself off the hook.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this man had died next door from me. I'm offering $2 million to find out who did it. Ain't no one gonna find out.
So I don't have anything between the gap of 2012 and now. Only that, he did flee the country, did goad the U.S. government that he didn't pay the taxes. I think that this guy knew. Now, some people are comparing his death to Epstein's death.
Yes, because I think personally that my opinion, like the clues are kind of there. This is a wild guy, kind of lives similar to Epstein. Did they know each other? They had to know each other.
I don't know if they did or not.
They had to. It's a small
I don't
world when
know.
you're rich. It's a small world when you're the 20%, Pastor.
I guess so.
Like you're 20%. It's a small world.
But see, the thing about with Epstein is he hung out with a lot of government officials,
Yeah.
and McAfee was he a staunch libertarian, and really had wanted nothing to do with the government. Although he did work for Lockheed Martin
Well, this is
and
what the point I
General
was going to say. I
Electric,
mean,
government
look, he
contract.
had young prostitute women, let's be honest, various ages. Let's be real with that. If you already married a prostitute that's trying to stab you or shot you, there's no way you got morals on girls' age at that point. Um, he has these wild parties in foreign countries where the laws are probably completely different from our own, age differences and stuff like that. On top of that, you're the godfather, the father to the antivirus, right? And then all of a sudden these bodies pop up in here. I'm like, the man probably had some connection to some trafficking ring or something, because he just liked money. A lot of what I've heard is that he liked money. He really liked having money. Once he got to that point where he had money, he would do anything to keep his money.
I think that the concern, well, I can imagine there was a concern that he knew a lot about something
Yeah.
between working for a weapons manufacturer or working for General Electric.
Hmm.
Um,
He's
it-
seen it all. I mean, the guy literally said, "Yeah, we was doing drugs with the bosses."
and obviously, I mean, he invented the antivirus software, so he probably had knowledge on how to get into
Other people's
computers.
systems. Plus, also you got to remember that other companies would want to hire him, and he was doing consulting work anyway. So other companies would want to hire him just to help them build on viruses and maybe even teach other people how to improve viruses. So he would have to have access to a lot of data, a lot of it, just to say if the government said, hey, look, we need some national protection on this and this, you go to the father of all of this, and the man probably trained. I mean, this knowledge went on to become something that we use to this day, cybersecurity and a bunch of other, you don't know what the man projects was involved in, so what he was involved in. So at the end of the day, he probably has so much knowledge on data itself. I mean, this guy was around when the internet was being birthed.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Like that's like being around when the Big Bang happened.
Oh,
Like,
come on.
think in terms of the internet, Pastor. Come on, relax.
The internet's a technology. The
Did it
Big
not have a
Bang.
Big Bang? Did it not have a Big Bang? Is the internet not alive?
No, the internet's not alive.
It's alive, all right. What is wrong
It
with
used
you?
to be alive
What do you mean?
in
It
the
used to be alive.
in the 90s, the early 2000s. There used to be just a lot of free stuff, people putting stuff up so other people could use it. And now it's just a big marketplace occupied by
If you
corporations.
don't want to deal with that, just buy a VPN. We're not sponsored yet, but I'll do a sponsorship without a sponsorship right now. Download VPN. Download
You'll have
Surfshark.
to educate me on VPN.
I got you. I will educate you for a nice price. People like you who complain about the internet and the problems should just be using VPNs. God, I don't understand. Like you complain about it. There's something that exists for the problem that you're worried about.
All right.
For like $10 to $5 a month, you would never have this problem again.
I actually have a free VPN through McAfee.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
let me look that up with you because I don't actually know how good their stuff is. So,
All right.
but you can watch just try out the McAfee's too because you should be able to change as long as you can change your region, your country and all that stuff. Private, you can turn off ads so you don't ever have to see an ad in your life again, depending on the VPN, because different one offers different stuff from what what I've been told. But yeah, I mean, there are free VPNs though. Don't get it twisted. There are free ones, but the ones with the that you pay for monthly have more benefits and certain things. So
Okay.
so that's why.
Well, we should probably wrap this up. And
Surfshark.
well, I did want to make one last comment on John McAfee. That I know that this guy was off the wall, but I've never really had an affinity for like the cowboy image,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something about this guy that strikes me as he carries the cowboy image with me.
Mm.
Like I probably, if I sat down and I had a conversation with him, I probably wouldn't agree with his political or economic viewpoint, but there's just something about John McAfee when I would pick up things, I'm like, this guy's kind of neat, you know?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. He interests me that I want to go watch a documentary about him
Yeah, I'd like
because
to see a documentary on him.
I'm like this is I was like a wild boy. Like in my head, I was like, I'll party with him, but I probably die. So probably wake up, overdose somewhere, and thrown in the ocean.
Yeah, and
Negro, we didn't have no Negro at the party today.
I forgot what date he gave, um, but and I can't say the exact quote on my show,
Okay.
but he had said that Bitcoin was going to hit 100,000, say by 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and if it didn't, he was going to eat his own beep.
Wow. Wait, he was that guy that said that on the Twitter?
Yeah.
Now I know who we are talking about. Oh man, that's hilarious. Now I got a face to who we're talking about. Wow. That's hilarious. On that note, that was great.
So let's pull it back around and let's end with a prayer as we always do at the end of the show.
Let's go, Pastor.
All right. Well, Father God, I thank you for Brother Mo. I thank you for this conversation that we had. I hope that the people listening will enjoy it and that maybe there was some insight in it or maybe there was a laugh. That Lord, we ask a blessing on all those that we know, all those that might watch this, and that God, that we know that you are you are in control, that you are our ultimate Father, and that Lord, we thank you for your Son Jesus Christ, and through this we pray, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good night.
Good night. That's hilarious. Oh, John.